Good Tuesday morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Alicia Lewis. Let's get to your headlines. Well, new this morning, Minneapolis police are investigating a deadly shooting that left a teenager dead. Chief Brian O'Hara says it happened around 2:30 a.m. near West 27th and Pillsbury Avenue. This is all in South Minneapolis. Officers on the scene say a young man was found with gunshot wounds and died at the scene. Investigators say it appears he was shot while driving and crashed into a parked vehicle with no one inside. A woman inside the man's car was not hurt. No arrests have been made. Happening right now, a new red flag warning issued for parts of northern and western Minnesota. This comes as Governor Tim Walz called for the Minnesota National Guard to help battle two major wildfires up north. Now, those fires burning in the Superior National Forest are forcing evacuations and some air quality alerts. Michelle Beck is tracking the flames and has new details about a third wildfire.
Well, good morning. Officials in St. Louis County are juggling a lot overnight. In fact, 3 large fires. There is the Munger Shaw fire on the southwest corner. But right now, from this county website, it appears the current evacuations are for people affected right here, Jenkins Creek, and those affected by the Camp House wildfires. So first, you're taking a look at the Jenkins Creek fire. It started yesterday around 11 a.m. And guys, by 11 p.m., it was 1,500 acres wide. That plus the Camp House fire, which you're seeing right here, are creating smoke that's moving to the north. The U.S. Forest Service says that's likely to impact the communities in Babbitt and Ely. Now, before you and I went to sleep, the agency also said to expect humidity to stay relatively low, therefore keeping the fire active overnight. Now, the latest report for the Camp House fire puts it at 0% contained. As the governor here authorized just last night, the National Guard will be joining in the fight. But officials point out it's been extremely challenging given the work in 85 to 90 degree temperature. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you. Well, check the markets this morning as they're reacting to a new inflation report showing prices grew at their slowest pace since 2021. Much different story than yesterday. We were in the green. But while prices are slowing down, there's a lot of uncertainty among Americans over the back and forth tariff fights that are happening between the U.S. and other countries. The slowdown will also likely not cause the Federal Reserve to lower the federal interest rate. An analyst with Goldman Sachs says that the tariff effects on prices will probably show up over the next few months. Happening right now, President Trump on his first official foreign trip of his second term in Saudi Arabia today. It's the first of 3 stops in the Middle East where the president is expected to focus on trade, energy, and finding an end to foreign wars. And it all comes after the last American hostage in Gaza was released by Hamas. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. President Trump is meeting throughout the day today with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince in a trip that underscores how influential the Gulf region has become economically, while raising questions about the Trump family's financial interests. President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia this morning, kicking off a 4-day trip set to focus on business deals with wealthy Gulf states. The president hoping to add to the $600 billion in U.S. investments Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince pledged at the start of this Trump term, as critics point to the Trump family's regional investments, including a Trump-branded golf course to be built in Qatar by a Saudi Arabian firm.
They're padding their pocket with deals with foreign countries.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle also objecting to an offer from Qatar, where President Trump is headed next, to hand over a luxury jumbo jet for the president to use as Air Force One and transfer to the Trump Library Foundation when he leaves office.
I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person to say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
There is a provision in the Constitution that says you can't do this. I think it's a mistake, and it's just bringing up something he doesn't need.
And just because they are doing the corruption in plain sight does not make it any less damning or sad or gross.
The White House says legal details are being worked out as aviation experts tell NBC News the plane would need expensive upgrades and a dismantling to check for listening devices. The Middle East trip comes amid emotional celebrations over the return of the last known living American hostage after 584 days in Hamas captivity. 21-year-old Adon Alexander, a dual U.S.-Israeli citizen, freed in a deal between the Trump administration and Hamas that largely bypassed Israeli leadership.
There have been some recent signs of tension between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over how to approach the war in Gaza and aggression from Iran. President Trump is not currently scheduled to visit Israel this trip, with his third and final stop set for the United Arab Emirates. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
We'll look from Washington, D.C. this morning, where tens of thousands of people are gathering to remember the lives of officers who were killed in the line of duty last year. This year, 3 officers from Minnesota will be honored: Minneapolis police officer Jamal Mitchell and Burnsville officers Matthew Ruge and Paul Elmstrand. All of them shot and killed in the line of duty. Our Morgan Wolf has been on this story from the very beginning, and she is in D.C. speaking with Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, as well as Burnsville Sergeant Adam Medlicott.
Now you're here and it hits you really hard when you look and you see all of Matt's names on the wall and you know them.
1 year ago, Burnsville Deputy Chief Matt Smith and Sergeant Adam Medlicott began planning this trip to honor officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge.
It's very difficult because we're still in that healing process and you're still experiencing those first moments, which are very difficult to comprehend and emotionally handle.
Something sadly Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara can relate to with the loss of Officer Jamal Mitchell.
It's going to be a week long of memorials and remembrances to, kick up all those feelings.
Yeah. How is the family doing?
I would say ups and downs. We try and be as supportive as possible. But not overbearing.
Support is what all families of law enforcement officers that died in the line of duty will need this week.
I have tried over and over and over again to get people to understand that he's just literally everything that we could have asked for.
So this week is for the fallen. It's for those who should never be forgotten.
There's a pride to that this is all one big public safety family.
I thank Morgan Wolf for that story. Well, developing this morning, Robbinsdale police are looking for the suspects involved in a deadly shooting. Just before our 10 o'clock newscast, we learned a 19-year-old woman was shot at Sanborn Park last week, has now died. A man in his 20s was also shot in that same incident. Robbinsdale police are still working to figure out what happened, and they're asking anyone with security video in that area to call them. Xcel Energy's efforts to clean up radioactive groundwater near its nuclear plant in Monticello hit a setback. The company says one of the wells near the Mississippi River recorded a higher level of tritium than before. That reading's just below the EPA standard level for safe drinking water. It comes after the company said it removed 7 million gallons of water from the ground at the plant and lowered the tritium concentration by 90% from 2 leaks back in 2022. Xcel maintains that the leak hasn't impacted the river or drinking water around the plant. New this morning, the Vikings making history this NFL season, set to become the first team ever to play back-to-back international games in 2 different countries. Now, the Purple and Gold are set to play the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin in Week 4, then a week later face off against the Browns in London. The rest of the schedule will be released on Wednesday night. It's going to be early morning games for us, and I love it. Well, one more game. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 1 win away from making it to the Western Conference Finals after a huge win against the Warriors last night in San Francisco. And this morning, we're learning Warriors superstar Steph Curry is not expected to play in Game 5 against the Wolves when the series returns here at home tomorrow. That's according to ESPN. Our Audrey Russo, though, has reaction this morning from fans.
Yeah, Timberwolves are just 1 game away from knocking the Golden State Warriors out of the semifinals. And the Timberwolves fans have really been there for it all. They've watched the games. They've stayed up really late in some cases, like last night. And they've even posted some of their own unique rituals on social media. Take a look at this post that I found from an X user. You can see it says lucky candle. It says, smells like a Timberwolves win. I don't want to imagine what that probably smells like, but you do you. Now, the team posted some other sweet moments like this one, where Ant pulled off his jersey and handed it to a young fan. Back here at home, fans are going to have the chance to watch Ant, Julius, and the rest of the team go for gold in Game 5. Tip-off is at 8:30 tomorrow here at Target Center.
Now, I took a look at ticket prices and availability. The cheapest seats that I could find were around $137. Many of those are resale tickets, but there are a few chunks of the upper bowl with a lot of solid blue standard seats that you can still buy. Another big headline that we're watching, whether or not the Golden State Warriors are going to try to rush Steph Curry, their star, back in from a hamstring injury to try to play and keep the Warriors' playoff dreams alive. Steph Curry himself has reportedly in the last 5 hours said he doesn't expect to play Game 5. We're going to continue to follow this, but for now, I'll send things back to you.
Audrey, thank you. Also new this morning, a massive concert benefiting farmers across the country is going to be here in Minneapolis. Farm Aid just announced it's going to kick off its 40th year at Huntington Bank Stadium this September. The lineup is incredible. Headliners include Willie Nelson, Neil Young, John Mellencamp, Dave Matthews, and Margot Price. I can't make this up. There's also going to be Duluth legends, Trampled by Turtles, who we love. The show is going to be September 20th, and tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Tickets are going to cost anywhere from $100 to nearly $400. And with that lineup, you can see why. Hey, stick with us. More news and weather is coming up after the break.